conscience speak? Oh, let me know whether I am converted or not. What say ye, my dear hearers? What say ye, my fellow sinners? What say ye, my guilty brethren? Has God, by his blessed Spirit, wrought such a change in your hearts?
George Whitefield was the first transatlantic evangelist, crossing the Atlantic Ocean 7 times from England to America, and was a large influence to the Great Awakening. He was born in England in 1714, where he conducted most of his ministries, but he also traveled to the American colonies, preaching in Pennsylvania, Georgia, and New England. Whitefield dropped out of school at the age of 15, where he had time to be exposed to the Bible more deeply. He became a devoted studier of the Bible, and the desire to learn more inspired him to go back to school. He went to Oxford College in England, where he met the Wesley brothers, and joined a collaboration named the Holy Club. His complete conversion and dedication to Christianity happened after reading The Life of God and the Soul of Man, given to him by Charles Wesley. He became sick, where he had to take a break from school. After a bishop placed his hands on Whitefield's head, he was touched and made his vow to wholeheartedly give his life to the work of God. Due to his theatrical background of being involved in plays as a kid, he was an animated speaker when giving his sermons. He toured pulpits, used his arms for means of emphasis, facial emotions that were passionate and deep, while having a voice that boomed over thousands of people. His new and energetic way of preaching resulted in the earliest revivals of Christianity, called the Great Awakening. There would be 20,000 people that would attend his sermons, and despite how chaotic it would be to gather the crowd, they would all be silent while he was speaking. His teachings included his solid belief to Calvinism, and he formed the Calvinistic Methodists. Altogether, he preached more than 18,000 sermons throughout his lifetime, and was known to be one of the most enthusiastic and lively pastors to deliver the Word of God. He died in 1770 at the age of 56 in Massachusetts while holding a meeting at the Old South Presbyterian Church.
William Ashley Billy Sunday was born November 18, 1862. He attended college at the University of Chicago and became a professional outfielder for the National League of Baseball. While traveling with his team, he heard a sermon that changed his life, and he joined the Jefferson Park Presbyterian Church. After denying a $3,500 paying baseball job, he took a preaching job at the YMCA paying only $83. After 11 years, his wife Helen Amelia Mel Thompson became his administrator, and they began traveling across the U.S. hosting tent and tabernacle revivals. He visited the White House and was friends with President Hoover and Theodore Roosevelt. Even though he was a millionaire, his popularity declined after World War I because families were drawn to radio and television. His last few years were rough. His 3 sons practiced everything he preached against, and in 1932 his daughter died, and his oldest son committed suicide in 1933. In 1935 he had a mild heart attack and was instructed to step down from the pulpit. However, on November 6, 1935, a week after his last sermon, he passed away. It is estimated that he gave more than 20,000 sermons to more than 1 million people in his lifetime.
Civilization and society rests on morals. Morals rest on religion. Religion rests on the Bible and faith in God and in Jesus Christ.
Both Whitefield and Sunday were influential pastors of their time that preached Calvinist ideas. Both men attended some type of college, and sadly, both men became ill during their pastoring days. Sunday and Whitefield led many to salvation, and their words revitalized people across the globe. But conversion to Christ was different for the two of them. Sunday heard a sermon and turned to Christ, while Whitefield read a book. During his sermons, Whitefield used his words, and Sunday used his hands and body to make his point. Also, Sunday's traveling campaign was a lifestyle change, while Whitefield dedicated his time but did not receive as much money. Lastly, the name Billy Sunday rings a bell for many more people than does George Whitefield.
Billy Sunday and George Whitefield were both evangelical communicators who impacted thousands of people with their captivating sermons that never left their audience feeling the same as at the beginning of the preaching. Both were born in completely different eras, Whitefield being born in 1714 and Sunday in 1865. Seeing the fact that the amount of people living in the 1880s was a large increase from the 1700s, it is easy to see why Sunday was able to reach so many more people, and in an easier way because of the improved ability to communicate and gather people. Sunday made a larger impact because before being a preacher, he was a baseball player, already making him known to sports fans, especially because baseball was one of the most popular sports in America at the time. Whitfield was solely a preacher and spoke to crowds in England before making occasional trips to colonial America to spread the word. They both spoke to crowds ranging from 18,000 to 20,000, both having to expand from preaching in churches to outdoor areas. Whitfield was an extremely animated speaker who would use his past theatrical skills to move people with passionate words and lively movements, untraditional to the norm of preaching in that time, which drew the masses of people to come. Sunday was a more casual speaker and made his sermons easy to understand while speaking of a personal God and moral lessons of the Bible. Sunday also met President Hoover, Teddy Roosevelt, and Woodrow Wilson, definitely boosting up his popularity and caused more to become interested in him and want to listen to his teachings. Sunday reached over 1 million people with his sermons and was an eye-opener to thousands of people he exposed the Bible to for the first time and converted thousands more to Christianity. Both Sunday and Whitfield were huge factors in the spread of the Word of God, but due to Sunday's background and time period, he was able to reach and influence a larger amount of